Hello, everyone. 3, 2, 1, and we are live. I'm sorry if I clapped directly into your ear. I'm going to go ahead and say whoopsies on that. I'm going ahead and saying, I'm going to get in front of this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, oopsie daisy. I'm sorry for clapping directly into your ear, but welcome to Danswers Live, the podcast about self help, helping yourself. The self help podcast for people who don't want to get that much better. I am your host, Dan Donahue. We have a few topics that I have to cover today, but first, I want to say quickly you can join the Patreon. You're going to get extra stuff from the Patreon. We have about 45 subscribers to the Patreon. That number fluctuates pretty dramatically over time due to my in the past inconsistency when it comes to posting regularly. I'm going to let you all know, and I do truly mean this. I'm going to get better at that. I'm going to get better at posting more regularly. I'm going to get it's going to be a new Dan, okay? Now that we have the beautiful technology up that I'm going to display for you very shortly. The other thing is I'm going on tour. I like to talk about this because I think some people are very exhausted about hearing comedians talk about doing stand-up comedy. So I will be somewhat brief with this. But chat, if you're with me, please let me know if this is not incredibly boring to you. I I'm going on tour somewhat soon. I believe in 2 weeks to DC, Atlanta, and what's the other city? DC, Atlanta, and Phoenix. So if you want tickets to that, you go to the same link that is in the bottom of this video. Now, let's see about this beautiful, beautiful episode. So we are going to open this image real quick. All right, it's a bit of a surprise image. I'll bet you guys weren't expecting old Danny to have the production value that he does, but check that image out. I opened this image because we are going to go over an article early today. This is Dan's food for thought. Little portion. We have 2 portions in this. Can you tell I'm trying to have a real podcast? Can you tell that we are trying to do a real show now? So this is portion 1. Dan's food for thought. We're gonna go over an article that is written that I think could help improve your life. And maybe I'll add some funny stuff to it. Maybe I'll add some horrendously unfunny stuff to it. Maybe I'll read the article and then go and also I saw a dog get its leg run over. And you might hear me say that and go, wow, that is horrendously unfunny. And I'll go, that's part of the show. Okay, I don't know what you were hoping for here. I guess like comedy, maybe a bit of relaxation and mirth from your otherwise sometimes monotonous and dreary day. That's not what comedy is anymore, folks. Stand-up comedy and podcasts in general are about self-aggrandizement of the person who is doing the podcast and also selling gambling websites. Now, I don't have any gambling sponsors yet. Nor would I ever. I actually don't think I would promote a gambling website. But that's neither here nor there. If Caesar's Palace comes knocking at my door and offers me $200 million, it's gonna, you know what, we might have a little bit of backtracking on what I just said, but I do really think that I will avoid that. Anyway, the article that I have today is about jealousy and envy. And first, a thing that I realized, you realize a lot when you're stupid. I know that sounds like a counterintuitive statement, but it is true. You learn a lot when you're stupid. When you're stupid, you have to learn a lot because there's stuff that just isn't in your head yet. And I didn't know that there was a difference between jealousy and envy. I had no idea there was a difference between jealousy and envy. It explains it here in this graphic. So, jealousy is basically the fear that someone is going to take your position. And envy is wanting something that someone else has. Okay? So to use that in an analogy, uh, if you were a guy and you watched the video of Drake having a good time by himself, which I don't even know why that video went viral. To me, I looked at that video, I watched it for a while because I really wanted to see what the fuss was about. And what I realized is it's simply just Drake just having a good time. Is that illegal? Is that newsworthy? I don't know. But let's use that as an analogy. So, envy is if you saw the Drake video and you go, I would like a schlong of equal proportions. And jealousy is if your girlfriend watched the Drake video and said, boy, I like a schlong of those proportions. Does that make sense? I hate to put it in such crass terms. One of the things I hate to be is crass. I like to have kind of a good down home country style of talking. So I hope that wasn't too much for you guys. But that is basically the difference between jealousy and envy, as shown by this little diagram. Now, here is the article. The surprising genius of jealousy and envy. How your two sociological emotions support your social life. This is interesting to me. This is very interesting to me. I'm gonna read just a smidge of this, and we're gonna talk about it just a little bit. Okay, so basically, this article starts by giving a few key points. Jealousy and envy are often ignored or deeply distrusted, despite the useful information they provide. Our emotions give us useful information, folks. It might not feel that way. It might not feel that way. A lot of the times, our emotions seem to trap us in a cage of need. And this is where people get very confused, right? This is where I used to get confused. I used to hate feeling any emotion because they got in the way of my Bitcoin empire. That's the thing your therapist won't talk to you about. Emotion, this is the thing. Is it great to feel your emotions all the way through? Absolutely. They give you great insight into the human experience. They can give you great insight into your own intuition. But they can stop you from grinding, right? For instance, right? Tonight, I could have been spending time with my emotions. My emotions told me I should be spending time with my friends. I should be spending time with my girlfriend. I should be spending time working on my craft. You have to stifle those emotions in order to live stream. Do you understand me? This is where emotions get in the way. But emotions, in all seriousness, give us great insight. That feeling in your gut is not to be ignored. A lot of people think it is. A lot of people think, you see your girlfriend talking to another feller, and it gives you a weird feeling in your gut, right? A weird feeling a little bit deeper than just your baseline jealousy, right? But you ignore that deep down feeling. You ignore it because you go, oh, well, I trust her. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I must be wrong. 8 months later, what's happening? You're on the couch by yourself, 4 hours into an 8-hour video of how to re-download Rome Total War, the PC game, onto your PC. What's your girlfriend doing? She's lathering that dude up with honey. She's lathering up with honey and putting marshmallows all over his body, which is beautiful, by the way, his body. It's rippling and it's sinewy. So you should listen to your emotions for the most part. Jealousy can help you identify, choose, and nurture healthy, intimate relationships. Envy can help you create fairness, equity, and healthy access to resources and recognition. Jealousy and envy also work together to advantageously position you and others in the social world. Okay? Let's read on. Most of us have been taught to repress, distrust, or even despise jealousy and envy. Tragically, this can have a deeply damaging consequence because the two emotions are essential parts of our social awareness. Sadder still, we rarely, if ever, see these two emotions treated as anything but trouble. Jealousy is often called the green eyed monster, and envy is literally one of the seven deadly sins in the Catholic tradition. Which I'm going to go ahead and rattle off those other six if you don't know. So the seven deadly sins are obviously sloth, greed, envy, uh, kissing bad, um, paying your taxes, uh, wearing those weird, those like wearing those like the bell bottom, but like the wide kind of cargo type bell bottom pants, and disrespecting Joe Pesci. Those are the seven deadly sins in the Catholic tradition. So I just hope that helps with the article. So let's scroll down here. Jealousy can help us identify, choose, and sustain our intimate relationships. If we don't have a good working knowledge of our jealousy, our relationships may suffer, even in our choosing or in our nurturing. We may not know what or who we want in our most intimate sphere, and we may not know how to maintain loyalty and stability in our relationships. Without the help of our jealousy, we may not be well positioned in our intimate relationships, and our love lives will be unsustained and destabilized. So I think what that's generally saying, if I can decipher a little bit, is you have to understand the things that make you jealous. Because even if you deny it and even if you push it down, that doesn't mean you're okay. It just means that you're ignoring the fact that something makes you jealous, okay? You can in the back of your head, folks, you can go, "Oh, I'm happy with my girlfriend, doing topless square dancing every evening." You can say that. And if you do feel that way, that's actually great. Because topless square dancing is one of the cornerstones of this country. It's an industry that brings in $400 billion a year for this country. Okay? And it's one of the sustaining portions of American culture. So I'm not bashing topless square dancing here. I'm just saying, as a fella, if you find a gal, which if she topless square dances, she is a gal, and you go, I'm fine with her topless square dancing, getting heaved up every night by a big burly farmer who carries her gently yet firmly in his hands. Well, you're going to push that down. You're going to write that off as just, oh, jealousy. Jealousy is a bad emotion. I'm not going to feel that. Well, guess what? That jealousy is actually helping you understand what your boundaries are, right? Understanding that jealousy can help you create a healthy relationship. Now, you don't feed into the jealousy. You don't break down the door of that sock hop and go, Clary, you're coming with me, okay? That's how you get 2 rounds of buckshot from Old Man Withers. But you need to tap in. And those are the things, like, we always want to push our negative, we always want to push what we see as negative emotions down. We always want to ignore them. We always want to make it seem as though we're not feeling them because we see that as a sign of weakness. I think it could be a sign of strength. I think, like, feeling our negative emotions, I think there's something very strong in being like, that makes me jealous. It makes me jealous when you lick. I don't know why honey is coming up so often. There's something I think wrong fundamentally with my brain, but it's like, it made me feel bad when you were out with your friends of the opposite gender And, one of those girls dropped honey on her arm and you licked it off. I felt like maybe you could have gotten a napkin. And that made me a little jealous, right? There's strength in that. There's power in that. There's power in understanding our emotions, even if they are like a little bit whatever. I've learned so much by just like sharing with my friends things that I was embarrassed to share with them. Like, if something they did made me upset, there's always that part of your brain that goes like, oh, well, letting them know that they made you upset is weakness. And sometimes, like, if you're doing it all the time, maybe you do just need to kind of deal with your own shit, right? You shouldn't, like, be pestering your friends with all the stuff that makes you upset all the time. If it's happening all the time, that might kind of be a you thing. As they say, it might be a you problem, right? So I I guess it's not a blanket statement, but I do think that like understanding our negative emotions, even if they are whatever, jealousy, hatred, um loyalty to a false crown, like those are all things that at the end of the day, you know, it really does help for you to understand those things. So look inside yourself, listener. Look inside yourself and see if you're feeling anything that you don't quite uh, feel comfortable dredging to the surface because you're embarrassed, because it's seen as a quality or trait that is frowned upon, like jealousy, like envy. And see if you're feeling those things and see if maybe instead of pushing those down, you can integrate them. How about that? Huh? How's that for self help, folks? Okay, now we have some really fun uh, little snippets from beautiful, beautiful Reddit, r/slash self help. We have Dan Diggs Reddit. This is the second segment. You see how we have segments here. So let's dive in. Let's dive into Dan Diggs Reddit. Okay, here's a post. This is a bit of a longer post. 30M. I can do anything in the world, but I spend my days doing nothing. Like the title says, I spend my days doing pretty much nothing. My hobbies include watching TV, playing video games, reading books, walking my dog, and J-ing O. Listen, nothing wrong with those hobbies. I gotta say, watching TV, playing video games, reading books, walking my dog, and walking your dog, if you know what I'm saying. You're not hurting anybody with those hobbies, right? If you said one of your hobbies was cow tipping, I would have to say, well, there's a negative one. You ever seen a cow? They're cute as heck. But those are all no. I would go ahead and say no. I mean, unless you're doing it really loud. I think that taking care of yourself, pleasuring yourself, isn't that bad of a hobby. Unless you're doing it in public, don't do that. The difference between doing that in private and in public is a difference in universes. It's a difference in stratospheres. If you were doing that by yourself, you were doing a beautiful act of service to yourself. And if you are doing that in public, you better cut that out, brother. 'Cause this is TGI Fridays, and they do not let you do that there. I have asked many times. I am unemployed. I own a car outright. I have $150,000 in savings. Let's go. And I'm beholden to no one, yet I cannot figure out what I want to do. I don't know where to focus on a career, focus on a relationship, focus on my health, or what. And when I do think about those things, I become overwhelmed with the choice and possibility. I'm afraid of wasting my life, of having it dedicated, no, or I'm sorry. I'm afraid of wasting my life, of having it dictated not by what I want, but by taking the path of least resistance that offers the bare minimum. I want to work hard, to spend my days working towards my dream. I just don't know what that is. How do I figure that out? Brother, if I had an answer to this, we wouldn't be doing this live stream. Okay? I'd be off in the mountains shearing alpaca. That's right. I do know what my calling is, unlike this person who has not figured it out. I should be shearing alpaca right now. I just choose not to. I choose not to because I am obligated and beholden to you, the viewers of this live stream, of which there are so many, of which there are two. I think that a great deal of the weight on people is literally what this guy is talking about. The great deal of weight on people's minds is that a lot of people feel like they are in situations where they are not doing what they feel like they should be doing. In a lot of cases, that's true. I mean, we've set up a economy like in the United States specifically, and it's not that every other country is great with this, right? But in the United States specifically, because that's where I grew up, that's where I hung my hat and spread my seed. Ew, ew. Why did I say that? Ew. We've kind of set up this system where it is good for the system for you to not do the things that you want to do. Jobs, I think, have become over the years less and less based on skills and more based on how long you can stare at a screen without tearing into your own skin. Right? Like jobs back in the day, let's go through them. Mechanic. What do you do if you're a mechanic? You fix cars. Milkman. What do you do if you're a milkman? You deliver milk and have sex with women while their husbands are gone. These are normal, sustainable, healthy jobs that brought our economy into the beautiful whichever century this is. Okay? But now it seems like every job is just essentially a marathon to see how long you can stare at a computer screen until your irises burn out of your head. I don't think that's a healthy switch. Do you know what I mean? I think back in the day, you had to, with jobs, use your body for a little bit of time. I know that there are certain people that are excluded from that privilege of being able to use your body unencumbered. But for someone like me, I always liked it when my job had a physical component to it. When I was a kid, I worked so many jobs with physical components to them, and I really enjoyed that. And then I became an adult, and every single job that was presented to me was, hey, how long can you stare at a screen before you realize that you're trapped? hey, I know you really like that summer job where you like worked at a beach and had a nice time outside. Here's your next job. You're going to be making a little bit more money. You get health care for this one, and you are going to stare at a screen until you question if you are still a human. Does that sound nice? Oh, what do you call that? Progress? We call it progress. Oh, who's my boss going to be? Because at the beach, my boss was just this guy, and his name was Jeff, and I would talk to him, and he would talk to me. Is that what my boss is going to be? No. You idiot. You idiot. You think that's going to be it? No, that's not what a job is. A job is where your boss is an email chain. It's a chain of emails between you and 18 people who are all above you in the chain of command, and every one of them is yelling at you all at once because the person at the top, they get no blame for anything ever, and they're always treated like a beautiful, precious little baby, and the person below them gets crap from them, and then the person below them gets crap from both of those people, and you're at the bottom, and you're like 40 floors down. So you are never going to feel sane, ever, because all of your chances of sanity are taken away by the fact that you're going to be blamed for every problem at every stage of command at this job. Does that sound good? Does that sound like it's worth $65,000 to $80,000 a year? It doesn't? Well, shut up and get on the screen, huh? Look at that there screen. I hope that wasn't depressing to anybody listening, but that is how it is. That is just how it is now. And it's unfortunate, and this is where we're getting into a portion that I like to call uh, bad motivational speaker Dan. Because inside of me, inside of my brain, this is just me personally, and I deal with this and I try to make it better. But there is a coach, there is a bad motivational speaker that lives inside of me, and sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's good to hear from him, right? And we're gonna hear from him right now. I think that what you need to do is, you need to make money in the short term. You need to work your job. You need to be willing to do more than just your job. That doesn't mean you should waste your life away at the company that you're working at, and it doesn't mean that what you need to be working on has to make you more money. That not necessarily, right? That's fine. But I think you need to be willing to this is just from the people that I find to be super happy. Some people are in jobs that they actually really like. I'm one of those people. I don't want to brag, but the way that I make money, and it's from a lot of different sources, and it's not consistent, and it stresses me out. And just today, I was like, freaking out about not selling tickets in DC, not selling tickets in Atlanta, whatever. But at the end of every day, I think I do sleep a little bit better, feeling like whether it's a win or a loss, it's a win or a loss on my terms. Because you're never gonna escape. Like, I think part of the issue with what this person is saying, and part of the issue with a lot of people who maybe can't find their passions, is the fact that there's this idea that once you find your passions, all your problems go away. No. There's a different way of looking at that. There's like a small shift in looking at that I think would be more accurate. You don't stop being stressed out when you find something you're passionate about. You don't stop having those hard days. You don't stop feeling that anxiousness in your body. But what does start to happen is you start to feel those things on a playing field where you feel like you're doing it on your terms. Right? Like, I feel like whatever, like, even though today I was really stressed, I think that what would add a really heavy layer, and just to quantify this to you guys, sometimes I do speak a little bit spiritually, but it's like doing stuff and working hard at something that you're not passionate about. It feels like you're doing everything with just this big weighted dark blanket over you, and that weighted dark blanket is coming from the fact that in your head you understand that stuff you're doing isn't for you. But I think people would be much more readily, or they would be much quicker to start the things that they want to do if they just understood that their problems aren't going to go away when they do it, but you're going to still be happier at the end. You know what I mean? It's the same reason why it's hard to sell like, if there's two guys and they're selling workout products, and one guy's like, if you eat healthy, and I'm going to show you, I have a workout program here where you're going to eat healthy and you're going to exercise regularly, but not too much to burn your body out. And slowly over time, it's going to become a habit and you're going to really like it. And after like maybe a year or two, you're going to be in a consistent rhythm of working out. And then another guy is like, I'm going to take you for 2 weeks and I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And you're going to be skinny at the end of it. That second guy has a lot that second guy has a way easier time selling things in at least this country and culture, and I bet you in a lot of other countries and culture, than the first guy. That second guy has a huge advantage over the first guy because he's that's not true. That's not the way that you get better. That's not the way that you excel at things. That's not the way that you find passion. But that second guy, ooh, it's alluring. All your problems can be solved with this magic thing. All your it's just not good. It's not true. It's not sustainable. Don't fall for it. Thank you, Reddit. We got this other one. That's good. Okay. I hope you folks can read that in the chat. Let me know if you can read this as the graphic comes up. I hope it is working, and I hope the sound is coming in clear and the video is clear. So this one, again from r slash self improvement, I believe it is. I struggle to make the people I care about feel loved. Wow. First of all, it's rare. It's so often that people have problems and their first reaction is to blame everyone around them, right? Like, I think so many people have this issue where when things are going bad, when things are going wrong in their lives, their first thing that they do is try to notice what everyone else is doing wrong. Yeah, things are going bad because this guy is being mean and this person isn't paying attention to me and blah 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 blah. It's so rare you have someone like a friend reach out to you and they go, "Hey, I'm not listening enough. I don't listen enough." And that's such a powerful thing because I think it's something that the people in your life would be able to listen. Because, by the way, listen, we, I don't think if you're listening to this, I don't think you're bad. I don't think you have deficiencies that are insurmountable. But there are things we can all work on, right? And I think something that I can definitely work on better is listening better, being more present with people, not focusing on myself, not thinking about all the things that I do wrong, but like looking at other people and realizing that they have, needs and they need to be listened to. I can get way better at that. So just the framing of this, I struggle to make the people I care about feel loved. That's just that sentiment has so much power to it in my mind because it's like, oh, this person has this at least has this desire to make people around them feel loved. How rare is that? How rare is that? And how common is it for us to go like, I don't have enough love. I don't have enough love. Why don't the people around me love me? And it's like probably two reasons. One, you probably aren't that into yourself really. You probably don't listen to yourself really. Number two, are you going out of your way? Are you really? Or are you doing surface gestures for those people? Or are you just not doing anything at all? Are you just expecting the entire world to gather around you and rally around you and love you? It's like it is one of those things. What's the Paul McCartney line? In the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. I hate that it's so. What's the word? Trite? Is that a word? Trite. Why do I try? Why do I try with these words? I should have given up years ago on those words. There's an echelon of words that just I should not use. I should not constantly be saying words and then going, is that the right word? Dan, stick to the basics. Stick to the fundamentals. You got an audience that's listening to you. What are you doing? Trying with trite. Trying with the word pontificate. Come on, man. You got a show to run. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I really do think that framing things in this way would really, really improve most people's stations in life. But let's read on. I've realized recently about my... Oh, I've had a realization recently about my relationships. Despite my best efforts, the people I care about often feel unloved and unheard. This has been a recurring issue, and I've come to see that the problem lies with me. I tend to show love through actions and providing, but I often fail to express the affection and emotions. And this is a guy. And we know this is a guy. There's no way this isn't a guy because I've had this problem too. Yeah, this is a guy. I can almost be assured of it because I think guys are taught to express love through providing. And you know what? I'll go ahead and say this. If you do express love through providing and you're a guy, You could do worse. There's some guys that just don't express love through anything. You know? Sure, you're not showing basic human affection, but at least you're buying a bracelet. Is that crazy for me to say? That it's not perfect, but at least you're buying a bracelet. I'm talking to this guy specifically. Um so I'm currently taking time to reflect on how I can improve on this area because I don't want to continue this pattern in future relationships. Does anyone have advice? I'm starting to think I should just be alone so I can stop hurting people. Oh, see, this is an issue. The people who are the most self-reflective, I feel, and like the people who have the most interesting perspective, also tend to be the people who judge themselves the most. Where it's like the guy who doesn't think about any of this stuff, the guy who doesn't think about any of his actions, that guy loves talking to everybody. That guy loves walking into a room and being like, "Oh, what's up? I'm the man again? Okay, sick." But it stinks that the guy that's like constantly thinking about how he's coming off, how he could do better, how he could be better, is the guy who's being like, "I shouldn't be around people anymore." It's like, no, man. That consideration is such a powerful thing. That consideration, the fact that you are considerate of these things, isn't only like the first step to becoming better at them and maybe having a little internal change, but also it it just speaks to character in this way. It really does. Uh Now it's time for Danny's 2 cents, huh? Hey, I should get a sound effect. I think I can have sound effects on this now, and I should get the sound of like two pennies clinking together, and it's Danny's 2 cents. Um, a guy to who I am assuming is a guy. Let me say this: we're in the same boat, brother. You and me are in the same. We're in the same galley. We're eating the same hardtack. We're smelling the same beautiful Atlantic breeze right now. We're both in the same boat. We're in the same boat confusing a manatee for a beautiful lady. That's where we are. We're in the same boat. We're in the same boat, thinking, looking at each other, and just considering for even just a moment, maybe I could make love with a man. We're in the same boat right now, okay? Is that how you express camaraderie? I don't know. Welcome to the Danswers podcast. Um, I've had the same issue definitely, and I would say the way that I personally look at this is when you're learning to express love in new ways, you will catch on to it. It will become normal. It won't be at first. That's not to say you should get disparaged when you feel like you try to show love in a certain way and it doesn't come off right, but just be okay with it not working right away, right? Like and also the attempt is usually good enough. If you're afraid of coming off looking like an idiot when showing love and affection to, let's say, a partner, just know the attempt is almost always going to be seen as 98% of being there, right? Like the attempt is almost everything. Because your partner shouldn't necessarily be concerned with, obviously, like, don't break down their front door in a ski mask and a toy gun, and when you fire the toy gun, it says, "I love you so much, baby." Don't do that at 2 a.m., right? That's a wrong way of showing love. But for the most part, like, just like, I know this falls under providing, but it's also, I think, a thoughtful thing. Like, let's use getting flowers as an example, because I think getting flowers for the person you're seeing is such an underrated thing. And by the way, ladies, you can do it too. You can do it too. Okay? And I know that sounds weird. No, it sounds. Why would I do that? Oh, the chances that your boyfriend has never gotten flowers from anyone in his entire life is so high. You are going to stand out so much from any other person he has seen if you get him flowers. It's a powerful one. I recently got flowers from my girlfriend, and I have to say, yeah, I was touched in a way that I'd never been touched before. I hate saying that just because it sounds creepy and I'm trying to be genuine. But something like getting flowers. Let's use that as an example. Let's say you show up to your partner's place. You got your girlfriend flowers, right? You show up to her place, and they're not the perfect flowers. They're not your partner's favorite flowers. Let's say they're flowers your partner is allergic to. I still think, unless they had really hammered it home that petunias could spell death for them, I think they're going to appreciate the gesture more than they're going to appreciate the actual flowers. I mean, that stuff is so much more ceremonial than it is anything, but the ceremony matters, right? Showing out for your partner and going like, I went out of my way. I was thinking of you. Because that's the thing. A lot of the times, if you are really in love, and I would go ahead and say this person who wrote this article has been in love, has felt love, you are thinking about your partner a lot, right? You're considering your partner a lot. That's part of being in love. And just putting even if it's just a little hug in the kitchen, a little peck on the cheek. It's just getting in the habit of putting your feelings into reality. And knowing that you can do that, and knowing that you can feel safe doing that. And if you don't feel safe doing that with your partner, don't do it. Don't do it. Find another bear to share honey with. You know what I'm saying? All right? If you don't feel safe expressing love to your partner, you got to find another bear to share honey with, okay? Because there's plenty of bears out there, and they're rolling around, and they're scratching their butts on trees. You ever see that? A bear scratches his butt on a tree. Most of the videos that come up for me on social media are cute animal videos, and I don't know what to make of that, but I do like them a lot. And there's a video where they put a little scratching post on a tree, and they had a bunch of bears scratch their butts on said tree. Let me see if I can pull it up. And they put it to music. And golly, it sent me into the next stratosphere. Images, come on, show me a bear scratching its butt. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, this isn't necessarily butt here, but ooh, all these are pretty good. But a bear scratch, man, you look at it and you go, maybe I'm going to be okay. You look at it and you go, you know what? Maybe life isn't as bad and hard as I make it out to be. Here, let's see if I can. Yeah, here we go. God, I love live streaming. So that's the bear. It's scratching its little keister on a pole. You look at that, you see one of nature's most psychotic killers having a wonderful time, showing its tummy a little bit. You go, maybe life's going to be okay. I'm sorry for derailing. We're talking about love here, but listen, this is just how I roll, folks. That's just the kind of psycho stuff going up here. But no, I would go ahead and say just like get in the habit of putting a physical expression to the affection that you do feel for these people, because you do say, I show love by like providing. Like, you can learn essentially different love languages. You know what I mean? So take your time. It's like learning any language. You're going to sound like an idiot in the beginning. You're going to get the wrong flowers. You're going to get the wrong gifts. You're not going to know what to do. And eventually you will learn how to do it. And just know if the person on the other end of that understands your intentions, there's no problem. If they don't, maybe that's not the person for you. Okay, let's see if I can get to this. Is this the one? Oh yeah, this is my favorite one. I'm gonna make this maybe a little bigger. Yeah. Okay. I hope you guys can read that. Let's get to it. Should I knock out my best friend? Such a good question. Hey guys, me and my friend just had sparring a few months ago. We both landed good kicks and threw good hands, but I just really don't know why my friend is telling everyone behind my back that he destroyed me in sparring. This is very annoying. He's literally lying to push his little ego. I had a lot of sparring mates, some better than me, some less better than me, but I never tell others that I almost knocked out my sparring mate. I completely lost my respect for him. He brings that up again, I will probably ask him to bare knuckle me or have a street fight. Or how should I handle this situation? Because everybody thinks I'm trash at my sport now. Man, I mean, listen. I think everybody has friends that maybe think a little too highly of themselves, or just people in our lives that think too highly of themselves. That's very common. It's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate when that happens because you're sitting there. Maybe you don't know this person well enough to really sit them down and be like, hey, listen, buddy, you stink. You're not very good at this. So what should this person do? They're sparring their friend, and from their perspective, things went pretty evenly. But their friend is walking around saying they kicked their ass. Now, I I could see maybe a world where your friend is doing a really bad job at trying to make a joke, like being like, "Hey, I kicked Chester's ass the other day." Um, but it does sound like something that a friend shouldn't do to another person. I'll say that for sure. If your friend's walking around going, "Oh, I kicked Jeff's," it's like, well, why do you have to? And I'll go ahead and say this: a reason why I would assume it's not true is if that actually happened and that was your friend, there wouldn't be any gloating, right? Like I have friends who are they play chess. A lot of my friends play chess, which is really weird that I have found a life where I am friends with people who are smart enough to play chess well. But hey, listen, if you do enough bicep curls, smart people will still accept you, or at least they'll take a glance at you and be like, who's that guy? Okay? I learned when I was younger, there are just certain parts of my intellectual life that I won't necessarily develop very well, but I can do bicep curls. Okay? It goes both ways. There's a lot of people out there who maybe weren't physically gifted and they went, you know what, I'm going to work my intelligence. I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. I love those people. And I learned when I was younger, reading ain't really my thing. I can't spell a lick, but boy, oh boy, can I deadlift. Is that a problem? Is that a problem? Because sometimes you need things figured out. Sometimes you're playing trivia, and sometimes you're helping friends move. It takes all kinds, is what I'm saying. Okay? It takes all kinds. um, so like my friends, when they beat me at chess, they're never like, oh, I beat Dan so hard at chess. It's like that's crazy. That's crazy behavior from someone who's your friend. I would say don't bare knuckle box your friend. Don't give him the justification of letting him know that he got to you, because I'm assuming this guy is trying to get to you. I'm assuming this guy has some insecurities that he's working with, and he is. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put it back up. I'm assuming this guy has some insecurities that he's working with, and that he hasn't really dealt with yet, and he's taking those insecurities out on you. And I think you showing that he got to you is just going to justify him, aggrandize him more. If you're confident in your abilities, and I would say just don't spar with this guy anymore. And if he goes, oh, is it cause I know, oh boy, do I know these people. I know that, and I know his move is gonna be like, oh, see, you're scared. You're scared to spar me. You're scared, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm scared. You keep working at the thing. You just keep working at the thing that you enjoy doing. Because it'll pass. It feels worse than it is now. Like when people are talking bad about you behind your back, I understand that it feels really, really imperative and important in the moment. It's not necessarily. It's not necessarily. Like sometimes it is. Sometimes like when people are really going after you in a really negative way, it is something that you need to address right away. It seems like this guy is just kind of a dumb meathead, and yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I would never be like, oh, just let it go, because, I mean, it's hurtful, but that's just something you keep in the old memory box. You gotta keep certain things in the old memory box, right? I forgive, I don't forget. You know that old statement that insane people make? I forgive, but I don't, or yeah, I forgive, but I don't forget. That should be you. The guys who wear Punisher t-shirts really got something right when it comes to that. Forgive your friend. Forgive him for his clear, obvious insecurity, but just don't forget it. Don't forget that this guy, cuz this will come up again. I can guarantee that. It's the same way as like if you have a friend who often cancels plans on you, you better believe that after you've made it clear to them that it bothers you and they still haven't rectified it, you better believe that that's going to keep happening. Now, that doesn't mean that they necessarily have bad intentions, right? But it does mean that it's a habitual pattern that you have made clear bothers you and they did not rectify. So, you got to be careful. It's just hard, when it comes to friends and friendship in general. Like, those are the questions I think people have the hardest time bringing up because friendship has this place in our minds of being this thing that we kind of do take for granted, in that we go like, oh, relationships are hard, but friendships are easy. Sometimes. Sometimes I question how communicative those people are with their friends, because friendship can be hard. Friendship can actually absolutely be hard. Friendship can be work. It shouldn't be the hardest work in the world, right? It shouldn't be like, you know, riverboat gambling or something. I'm gonna put I don't know if this will hurt my algorithm or whatever, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the image of the bear scratching itself while I give this final thought. If you want to see it, it's on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify. But there's a little graphic of a bear scratching himself that sure is giving me a nice little tickle. Um, Friendships are hard work. Don't convince yourself they're not. If you have something that you feel needs to be addressed with a friend, don't convince yourself that it's not important. Don't convince yourself that, well, friendship should be easy and I'm not going to bring it up to my friend because I'm going to seem high maintenance. If you're high maintenance, uh, you know, I think you'll be aware of it, and just kind of, if it's coming up again all the time, if you're constantly making these things, maybe have some consideration. Maybe this is me, but also it's like, do not minimize the fact that friendships can be tough. Friendships can be really tough. Friendships aren't always low maintenance. Friendships are sometimes high maintenance. I asked my friend to have a bite of a sandwich. I've told the story before. It rocked the foundation of our friendship because he said no. Looking back on it, was he right to say no? Absolutely. Taking a bite of a sandwich is a very intimate process. And at the time, he was very hungry. I understand that now, but it hit me. It felt personal that he didn't let me have a bite of a sandwich at the time. And it rocked our friendship right down to the core. I'm not ashamed to admit that to you people. But we came out stronger. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, at the end of these situations, you will come out stronger. You just have to understand that it's a long process. I appreciate you all watching. Thank you. This is the first all the way through full iteration of Dancers Live that I will be posting on Spotify. I do want your feedback. So dancerspodcast@gmail.com. You can email me at any time. I got a lot of plates in the air right now. I got a lot of balls rolling around in my damn noggin. That's not an expression. But let me know how you like the podcast, how you like the new format. Let me know if you enjoy it. I am going to post a link in the bottom. That's going to have my tour dates. That's going to have my email list, which I would love you to join. You'll get an email if I'm ever in your city when you fill it out, and you won't get any spam emails from me. And check out the Patreon. I'm going to be putting a video up on the Patreon probably while I'm out on the road this weekend, so that'll be fun. So anyway, thank you all for listening. I really appreciate